Okay, you're good.
Okay, real good. Well, let's get started. And once again, just such an appreciation to Michelle and to all of her team and all the national marketing directors that come and join us on this Thursday night to bring those, within their team to share their stories. I think that we have no idea. Sometimes I try to think of the magnitude of what we're able to bring to one another as far as what we have to offer. And as we get started, I don't know if there's anyone that's new with us, but I probably should introduce myself if you are joining us for the first time. My name is Cheryl Cortese. I'm a national marketing director with the Juice Plus Company, and just have had that privilege and honor and really joy, success, but a lot of happiness now for 33 years. And so looking forward to the next 33 because the adventure only gets better all the time. But we're here, as Carol said, every Thursday night to bring you those stories of people who have come across this just as I did, and so many of you have, all of you really. For me, it was very much by accident, just in a time of huge financial stress. When Kelly tonight said, she started from a standpoint of fear, I did too. And finances can be a huge fear with people. And this really does offer people the ability to step out of that financial fear into financial security. And then having the Juice Plus product there to, really make the difference as well. It's really just a twofold blessing and gift. If we're talking about this time of year, gift would certainly be underscored here. So I'm going to go to one of our national marketing directors that was going to join me tonight. She's your surprise guest for us to interview, and that would be Amanda Wright. Amanda, are you with me?
I am.
Hooray, there she is. And so we were just going to talk with you a little about a few things. One is here we are, the season, which brings us to the close of the year. And again, just to continue on with our thought process of our Tuesday night Take Action Tuesday, and that's to finish really strong here this year and go in even stronger in the new year. I've heard Jeff Roberti say it a number of times. I've certainly felt it. We're really in, I would say at this point, an unusual but magical time as far as people really being awake to what we have and what we have to offer. So we're going to see our business continue to expand and explode, and we want to be part of that. I've often said you can either watch the parade, join the parade, or lead the parade. And I like that part about leading the parade. And so we're going to see some really amazing years over the next few years with our product and with our company. But I wanted Amanda to share with you tonight. We would talk about a few things. One is how you're closing out this year, what activities are in place. We are, as we all know, in an unusual situation. And there's not as much personal gathering, but at the same time, connection is still very important. And then how, we're looking at structuring the end of this year so that we can go into next year with a lot of momentum, what momentum is, and how to really, look at what your pattern of development will be next year. So Amanda, first of all, maybe you can share with people your story right quick, because I love the stories and how people come together, how we find each other. And sometimes that's unusual as well. So maybe we'll start there, okay?
Sounds good, Cheryl. Thanks for having me on this Thursday night. And I absolutely enjoyed all the stories. And I think especially Amy, you're sharing the first time. That's super brave. And your business will be changed forever because of your story shared tonight. So congrats to all the ladies who shared. So my story is I was introduced to Juice Plus 7.5 years ago. It was actually my husband who was at a conference and sat down next to a stranger. And she shared that, oh, hey, Becky Faye, I just saw one of my teammates hop on. She shared Juice Plus with him. And he, I think, took a card and chatted with her and somehow gave out my number. I'm still not sure how that happened. And before I knew it, he came home. He knew I've always been into health and wellness. I was a physical therapist. I'm one of these people that was juicing, green juicing a couple times a week. And we had 2 little boys at the time, 3 and 5. And he just knew that it was right up my alley. And so he gave her my number. And within a week or so, he was on the phone and I was on the phone on a three-way connection call. One of those calls was with Cheryl, and the other call was with Lauren Lahav. And I will tell you, I didn't Google anything. I don't even think I looked at the Juice Plus website. So I always like to remind people there are people out there like me that are just waiting to be asked. And that's really where I was. I was burnt out in my healthcare career. I was working in a hospital, and I would watch my watch from the time I got into the hospital to the time I left, because I was really working in, I felt like a broken healthcare system. And so the idea when I got on the phone with these ladies that they were fired up and passionate and excited and couldn't stop talking about these fruits and vegetables and the community and the travel and the fun, they had me before I was off the call for sure. And so again, I signed up not knowing what Juice Plus really was, or what it wasn't. I just knew that I wanted whatever they had. And I was really looking for some female role models. I never really had that in my physical therapy career. And so this idea that I had women that were successful and driven, by a mission around prevention, that's what got me. So that was 7 years ago. I didn't take the business super fast, I would say. I took it one step at a time. In fact, I'm one of those people that like slow track through some of the promotions. I don't like to tell my team that, but I did. I just took it really slow at first, one step at a time. And it was really a conference that changed my vision. That first conference I went by myself. I knew no one that was going. I didn't mention this. My sponsor, Linda Evenden, was in Australia. We'd never met. We had no, real ties to each other, but she invited me to come, and I came. And I showed up and roomed with these lovely Australian ladies, and we had a ton of fun. And I, again, just caught this big vision. International company, check. I love travel. I love being part of international anything. So the fact that I could just meet people from all over the world was amazing. The products, I got my belief in the products went from, a 2 or a 3, just taking them for a couple of weeks, to, a 9 or a 10, which was amazing. And just the feeling that I got out of the weekend, that people again were fired up, and they were passionate, and they were having fun and dancing and just excited to be there. And it's something I had never experienced at a conference, or really professionally at all. So I remember coming home from that conference, and I think I fast tracked to the next 3 positions. And we had a change in where we were going to live, and a big change. My husband got an opportunity for us to live and move to Uganda. And so I just reached sales coordinator. I was kind of at a tipping point in my business where I felt like I had this little team and I was starting to get some momentum. And then we picked up everything, and moved our 2 little boys across the world, had never been there, arrived sight unseen, and had to figure everything out in a foreign country. And it took me a while, but probably within 6 months or so, after the dust settled of moving, I looked at my Juice Plus business, and I thought, gosh, I have a little bit of extra time because I wasn't working. And I have internet, right? I have connections. I have a belief in the products. I have an upline who's in Australia, who's actually fairly close in time zones. So I could have taken a situation, looking back now, I realized I could have just stopped, I could have quit, but I didn't. I took a situation that could have been really hard, or I could have made a lot of excuses. Instead, I turned it into an opportunity. And from there, I went all the way to national marketing director in Uganda. And it was quite a ride. I did a lot of kind of fun, what I consider fun, big stepping kind of things. I went to the Dubai grand opening, again, went by myself, flew 5 hours, left the family, went to Dubai, never been there before, and started a team in Dubai, worked a lot of connections that I had in Europe, kept my team afloat in the US, and they started to build. And so by the time I reached national marketing director, I had an international team, and was just so proud of the community that we had built. So yeah, I'm now back in Denver 2 years in. 2 years after we've moved back from Uganda. I couldn't be more just so thrilled that I didn't have to go back to work in a hospital when we moved back. We were set up financially enough with my salary and my benefits that I could just slide right in and work from home now, work around my boys' schedule. And just am so excited about where we're headed as a company in the future that we have. And I love the possibility, and I am very excited for just all of our stories and where we're going.
Well, and I love that. And I love her story so much. And what was so interesting is she would come to the US conferences too. And of course, we would get ready for conference and then we'd have the award night. And Lauren LaHave is upline to her from Linda. And I'd see her and she'd say, oh, yes, it's a man. Every time she'd come to a conference, she'd made another promotion. There she is again. I'd see her just at promotion time and she was at the conference. So I think it's a really good example of, you can build from anywhere, anytime, any place, no matter what's going on in the world, because everybody's life can be, so different. And yet, here we are. And as we end this year, and what I'd like for you to share, Amanda, is,
Mhm.
what you're doing here to close your year. What's the plan for the next year? What are the activities that are happening, and how are you looking at this holiday season as far as, your team and how people are putting themselves in place to take advantage of next year? And these are all impromptu questions.
Yeah, you guys, I didn't get any of these
We
before,
didn't have
so
any conversation about this.
no, I love this. So I love that our business is really built month to month, right? We hire ourselves beginning of every month, and we fire ourselves, I guess at the end of the month, and then we get a fresh start. And the same goes with the quarters of the year. So this last quarter, I was taught by Lauren and Cheryl just to really set yourself up for the first quarter, because if you wait until January 1st or 5th or whenever you come out of your holiday coma, the month is almost half over. And so really, my brain and my mindset is I want to use these last 2 weeks or whatever we have, 2.5 weeks of the year, to set myself up, my team up for some really good starts at the beginning of the year. So I'll tell you what I'm doing, and this is kind of fun. Um, Funny that I'm doing it while I was listening to you guys share your stories, I was writing my thank you cards to my customers. So that's one thing I'm doing, is shoring up my customer relationships. And this is a great time of year to reach out to them. It doesn't have to be, I got these little postcards last year. It doesn't have to be something, it doesn't have to be a gift. You don't have to spend a lot of money. It could just be a personal reach out. But I want to shore up those relationships because we are in the relationship business. It could be a New Year's card. Don't feel like you have to get it out by Christmas. But I really want to make sure my customers, I am top of mind as they go into New Year, especially around, as they head into thinking of detoxes and cleanses and shred 10 and that kind of thing, growing indoors. I want to be top of mind, and I just want to thank them. I really want to thank them. So I really look at my Christmas card list as a business opportunity. I spend a lot of time and thought into how I'm going to reach out to people in general, not just my customer list, but my Christmas list. My Christmas list are all the people that are, important to me. And I see them, from also a friend point, but also a potential pool of people that will eventually, either join me as a customer or as a teammate. So I want to keep those relationships really solid. So that's one thing that I'm doing personally at the end of the year, is just making sure, and my team, sending out little gifts to my frontline team and just thanking them and making sure, again, that they know that they're important, sending out little messages. So this may not be a big time that I'm prospecting necessarily this week of Christmas or next week. I'm still reaching out this week, but maybe as I'm heading into Christmas or a couple of days before, I'm doing those reach outs to team and certainly letting them know that they're top of mind. One thing that we are doing one thing that we just did as a team, a lot of our leaders were on Eric Worre's GoPro last weekend. So again, anytime that I can get myself and my leaders in front of someone that has even a bigger vision and bigger confidence, I'm going to do it. So a lot of us were on that GoPro. And I think, also what Eric talks about, and one thing I really took away is, what are going to be your main campaigns for 2021? Okay, so that's one thing we're starting to map out with our leaders. And so if you don't know what a campaign is, that's okay. But probably your national marketing director does, or someone above. And a campaign could be simply, how are you going to repackage what we're sharing? It could be the Healthy Starts campaign, which the company put on. It could be the Shred 10. It could be, New Year, New You campaign that you do on your customer care page. It could be an indoor gardening campaign that leads into March or April as people are outdoor gardening campaign. So how do you want to, our job is to share the products and the opportunity, right? But I love being creative, and I love sharing things in different packages, different ways, so people can hear it a bit differently, because sometimes it doesn't connect in one way. And so I love adding a lot of value and then creating these little campaigns to give my team something to focus on. So that's what I'm thinking of leading into the new year, is how do we create short bursts of campaigns that everyone knows what to do, and we can create some more momentum, some more curiosity, add more value as we head into the new year. So we're mapping out the first quarter of the year on that. And then I'm always adding to my memory jogger. I mean, I think this is a time of year, even though we're not as many parties or not as many social functions, people are, again, just top of mind because it's the holidays, right? Or you get the Christmas cards in the mail. You're, connecting with the mom who's in charge of the teacher gift, and you get all the emails of all the parents, and you're reminded of who's in your kid's class. So keeping that memory jogger really fresh and updated, and I don't know how you're keeping track of yours. I use grid formula. Sometimes I also have just a handwritten list of people. So making sure you're staying really fresh with your memory jogger, so that when you do have something to reach out for, a campaign to invite to, you know who you're inviting and why you're inviting them. So I think those, Cheryl, are probably the three things we're focused on mainly.
Well, and those sound fantastic. And, again, some of the things you said that I just loved was that, first of all, you're sending people a handwritten note. I mean, we're all so used to so much information coming our way through, the internet, through technology. And that's great that we have that. We're not saying that that's something that's not a huge blessing. But at the same time, when you get a handwritten note, it is, it's very noticeable because it doesn't happen as much anymore. And I think also, we normally, this season is so busy for people because of all the social events. And today I find that when I call people to wish them well, to see how they're doing, it's just something that's so well received, because everybody has this feeling, even if they have a household, even if your family is there in the house with you, there's still that feeling of isolation to a certain extent. So that really does, make a difference. I think staying connected. Also, one of the things you mentioned about, that plan, whatever that plan is going to be, however you design it as far as going into the new year, it's a great time to look back and reflect on the year. We've had a most unusual year, obviously, but from a business standpoint, just a record-breaking year. And again, we have two things that are, on the top of everyone's mind today. We have something that can, as we all know, can help to really protect the body, really enhance the immune system, all of the things that our research says, people are really looking for. And then, of course, the need that people have for additional income and financial security. So we've had a lot of success, but I think you can access that at a higher level. Also thinking about, the fact that this is truly a gift. If I listen to everyone's stories, I think about my own and what this has been for myself and my family. I mean, there's just nothing I can imagine that could have done for us what this has done from both a health standpoint and a financial standpoint. So what an amazing gift you have to offer people here at the end of the year. And to have the courage to do it, I think, is very important, to really look to yourself as to all the things you've heard and all the people you've heard it from. And these stories and other stories you've heard from our team members, partners, across the country and across the world. what this has meant to people. So the word gift fits very well. Also, actually, as a gift, a tangible, fruits, vegetables, and berries and omegas in a box, wrapped up with a bow. That's another thing that really, does make a huge impact, I think, as far as people, especially now, to wish someone well from a health standpoint is extremely well received. So I think I'd be making that list and checking it twice as we talk about the season. But also, looking at what are your goals, to really look at the new year, and what are the goals you have for yourself, for your team, your personal goals. Uh, to make a list of those. I find for myself, if I write them out, I'm much more likely to achieve them than if they just float across my head. It's so easy for them to keep floating, out and away. But if I really, write them all and think about how I'm going to go about doing, as we just heard, she's looking at what is that plan going to be, what's that campaign going to be, what is the activity going to look like. I think identifying the activity is a very important part of it as well. For myself, I look at, what does the rhythm of my day and my week and my month look like? What are the infrastructure that's already in place that I'm going to plug people into? What are the things that I'm going to do to acquire a new team? What are the things that I'm going to do to help my team acquire a new team? So if I look at and as national marketing directors, we look at our open, but whatever position you're in, you're looking at your team that you're actively working with. What, where do they want to go? I think it's an important time to have those conversations, either before the new year or going into the new year, is what do people really want? If you look at each one of your people who are closest to you, sponsored directly to you, what is their plan? What is their desire? What is their want to? People will do so much more for desire than they will for need. So what do they desire for this new year? What activity is going to go into logistically making that happen? So I'm looking through the people that I'm working with on a day-to-day basis is, who wants to play and at what level do we want to play? And look at what that rhythm is going to look like as we go into the new year. What's that pattern of development that's going to happen? So it's really, if we think about this, it's a wonderful time to share with people. And as Jeff says often, I've heard him, we probably heard this on, if you were on with us on Tuesday night, Christmas is just one day. But there's a lot of activity that goes around that as far as reaching out to people. So you want to really use it as a time to make sure that everyone knows what you do, what you love, what you stand for, what you're committed to, and give that invitation of to join us, to partner with us in this. Amanda, any other thoughts from your side as I?
Yeah, I think you bring up such a good point about just, I would call it reflection of the year. And that's one thing I didn't mention of, looking back over your year and saying what worked really well, what did I love doing, what gave me the best outcome, and do more of that. Like I would add more of that into 2021. So I would call amplifying your strengths, right? What are you good at? What is your sweet spot? Is it I know we're not doing in-person events right now, but is it the salad in the jar party? Is it the shred 10? Is it the tower garden? Really amplifying what you love and do that more and get better at it. Increase your skills, take a class, find a mentor, and then shoring up your weaknesses. And so maybe there's some areas where you're not as confident. It doesn't mean you have to get to a 10 out of 10 on the skills, but maybe just a way to shore up those weaknesses in an area, if it's social media or sharing your story or, just whatever your area is. So doing some reflection on what's working, what's not working, where do I want to spend my time, energy, and focus to have the best results. I
Right.
think that's worth some time.
And one of the things I find for myself is that if I spend my time on the things that I really love, because things you love, you usually you're either good at or you get really good at, and you enjoy it. And whatever you enjoy is always going to be, the draw. So for myself, I love the process of team development. I love, the kickoff as far as the new person is concerned. I love helping someone get started and really see the light in their eyes when they realize that, yes, this could be the answer. And they get that first, commission or bonus check, and then they start progressing through the pay plan. Look at whatever it is, though, as Amanda just said, whatever it is that more or less lights your fire, so to speak, that you really enjoy, go in that direction. And then as you do, I look back on my years and career, especially in the beginning when I was wanting to learn everything. I'm one of those, unfortunately, that I want to know it all, okay, as fast as I can. And sometimes, you can realize that you don't have to know it all right in the beginning. You can learn it as you go. But when I felt like I wanted to learn something that somebody else was good at, I would watch them and study them and listen to them. We have so many people with so many different skills to offer in our business, and everyone's here to help everyone else. So, it creates a good format to really be immersed in all the things that are here for you, and that you can take part in, because that can make a huge difference as well. So, if we look at closing this year, it's to really think about how many people can you share the story with over the next 2 weeks before we go into this new year. And just no more than letting people know what you do, what you have. I certainly have found, and again, this is just people that I happen to interact with because they're not that many as we're all at home. But the ones that I happen to, where the product right now, people can't get it fast enough. I mean, it's just been amazing to me at how easy it's become to just talk about our product. Yeah, you just have to say a very little and they want to know more. But really sharing with people, what we have to offer from a business standpoint as well. Uh, I think that there's going to be an even greater need as we go into this year for people to have that supplemental or really crucial income that's missing right now for so many in our country and the world. So to make sure you let as many people know as possible, because if you can have people in place, January is that we all know this. Everybody wakes up, January 1st, they're going to look better, feel better, lose weight. They're not going to eat sugar anymore. They're going to do this, that, or the other. I know that's what I do. I make those commitments every year and I try to hang on to them as long as I can. But it's the perfect time. So the number of people that know what you have to offer, the greater that new partner pool will be, because they'll be ready. So right now it's just making ready for that January 1st kickoff, and letting as many people know as possible. And it might be from a, third party standpoint. Who do you know? Who do you know that might be interested in some additional income? We really are looking for people to partner with us because everybody's awake to what we have. Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? I have, over the years, that's been one of the most profitable questions for me, is who do you know that might be interested? Because so frequently that person will say, well, maybe me, could you tell me a little bit more about it? So it's a wonderful way to segue into a conversation where they ask you instead of you asking them. And that has been extremely beneficial. So right now I would be really looking at, and I loved Amanda's, the list, always adding to your list. I think Eric Ward calls it the active contact list. You want that active contact list alive all the time. If you meet someone, and you have a conversation, get their email, get their information. I think I've actually had, here in California, you don't get to go out very much. I think I've been in 3 stores in the last week, but there was just enough conversation as I'm purchasing something that the person knows what I do, and then I take their information. I might give them my card, but I'll say, why don't you give me your name and email? Because I'd like to share what we have, especially if they're wanting to know more about it, or I'll send you something. And so I've been collecting that as I go. Now, again, we're not out as much, but if you're really, attuned to it when you are out, it's very easy to send people things. So again, it's how much exposure can you create? It's just exposure, because that's really what we do, is create exposure so that interest comes back, and get ready for the new year. Get ready for that partner pool to be filled as much as possible. And again, the words like, who do you know that might be interested in really protecting their health? Who do you know that might be interested in some additional income in the upcoming year? We have more business than we can handle. Sometimes it does feel that way because there's so many, partners who are talking to people who need the support as well. So I find myself, in a lot of conversations, helping to share what we have with other people as we do this on Zoom. It's mainly on Zoom now. The three-way call has gone to the three-way Zoom, and I can't say that that's a bad thing. I really enjoy being able to see people, and I think people really feel good about the connection as well. It's I think, a very unique time, but one that can really bring you a huge year. In any chaos or catastrophe, there's always opportunity. And that's always shocking when you look back on it. But you can look back at any time in history where there was major upheaval, and opportunity comes from that. And we just happen to be in an exceptional place right now with, product and business. It's very, very relevant. So we want to really be of service to people. It's not just about building, a powerful business that certainly is available to anyone, but it's also about being of service to others. So Amanda, any other things from you tonight before we close? I think I'm now 5 minutes over.
No, Cheryl, I think we hit on everything that I would have said just about the end of the year. And I think the only other thing I would add is gratitude, right? We talked about this on, yeah, just a time of reflection, gratitude for what you have, gratitude for what you didn't do this year, gratitude for the things that didn't happen, gratitude for things that did happen, gratitude for your customers, your team. And I think, a lot comes when you just pause and give thanks. So I'll add that in.
And that's a beautiful way to end, and one that certainly I'm so glad you said that, because we talk often as I'm talking to people at the corporate office, with other teammates, how blessed we are, that we not only have something that does protect our health, but that we have something that does create income for ourselves and for others. And the beauty of this is, you don't make money unless somebody else does. So it's a wonderful way to create a living. But gratitude is just, we're just so grateful for where we are, the company we're with, the product we have, but also that we get to share that with others, and that we are looking at a really great new year, and that we have that to offer to other people. So gratitude is very important, not only from a standpoint of the way it makes you feel, but what it does for you. And Dr. Tamara Sachs really worked at covering that on the last Take Action Tuesday, was that physiologically it's very healthy, and it also puts you in the positive state of mind to really have a great foundation for this business. The good positive is so important, and it's a great thing to share with others. So thank you, Amanda, for being my surprise guest tonight.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you very much. And so everyone, good night. I think that our next Thursday, I'm not sure, I think it may be Christmas Eve. We might just all come on and say Merry Christmas. So we'll look forward to that. And we'll hear you on other Zooms and other events. So Carol, thank you so much. And we're
You're
Back to
welcome. Good
you.
night, everybody. We
Good
will
night.
not be on next Thursday or the following Thursday. So we're off for 2 weeks.
Well,
Yeah.
so we're
So,
going to say Merry
happy
Christmas
holidays.
right now. So everybody.
Yes. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Yes.
Christmas.
Merry
I
Christmas.
didn't
All right.
realize it's going to be Christmas.
Merry
Eve.
Christmas. Good night.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holiday.
Oh, so glad.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas,
Take good
everyone.
care.
I see all those beautiful faces of everybody I know and love.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah, bye.
Cheryl.
Good
Bye.
night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.